I'm back and I'm talking about 2023 kitchen trends that we don't want to make our kitchen trendy for 1 year. We want to make it timeless. Number one, we have the Scandi trend. So this is kind of introducing more warmer tones, like introducing wood into your kitchen. We're moving away from the all white kitchen or all one color kitchen, and introduce some wood tones and few textures, but still keeping the lines very minimalistic and clean. Maybe used to seeing a kitchen all in just like a very light neutral color, but if we say introduce some wood tones into our kitchen, it just warms up the space and kind of still keeps that kind of classic look. It just makes it feel a bit more inviting, homely. Scandi trend is here to stay and I love it. This kitchen, the client wanted an all white kitchen, but I suggested kind of adding some wood tones under the island where the seating was, and it just draws your eye to different parts of the kitchen as opposed to kind of walking in and it all just blending into the walls. You want people to walk into your home and think, oh wow, point at different things and be like, oh I love that, oh my god, I didn't even notice that, now I see that too. Then you need to kind of have some points of interest. Cladding the seating area of your island in a wood paneling is a great way to do that without adding too much cost. Use either like a laminate finish, or you could use a real wood veneer if you had the budget, but you can still get the same look just using two different materials. Moving on to number two. I've been seeing a lot of my customers moving over from having a quartz worktop, going more into the porcelain worktops. They're both man-made stones, both non-porous, they don't stain, they're very hard wearing. Main difference I would say with the porcelain is that it's heat proof. So quartz you'll find is heat resistant, but it's not kind of heat proof. So if you were going to take something straight out the oven and put it directly onto the quartz worktop, you may get some discoloration or staining. So we don't advise it. I don't advise it to my clients. A lot of people do it anyway and they say that they've been doing it for years and it's fine. And if that's the case, then been lucky, but it could just be that one time that you take something out the oven and put it on your quartz worktop and it stains, and once it's stained, it's not going back. The heat proof property of porcelain as opposed to quartz is the main benefit, I would say, but there's also the colors that you can get in the porcelain as opposed to the quartz. So a porcelain worktop is an image that's lasered on the top of the stone. This is a porcelain sample and then this is a quartz sample. So this is the Estatuario silk by, so this one is the Estatuario silk by Neolith. It's a really nice design. It's similar to kind of like a Calacatta, but not exactly. And then here we have the Calacatta Maximus. So this is by Caesar Stone and this is a quartz. The difference is this one is heat resistant, this one heat proof. So they both come in different finishes, but this one is an image lasered as opposed to this one is a pigment. I'd say the advantage of having the quartz is that, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but the image goes all the way through the stone. So if you had a thick 30mm piece of worktop, you'd see the veins going through worktop. With a porcelain, because it's lasered on the top, you wouldn't see the image going through the side. Disadvantages of the porcelain is that obviously the image doesn't go through the stone. It's also more expensive than quartz. The trend I'm seeing is that if there is the budget available, then my clients are faring more towards the porcelain as opposed to the quartz. Whereas if you're used to using a trivet and don't have the budget to kind of upgrade to the porcelain, the quartz is still a really good option. Okay, moving on to number three. Number three is one of my favorites, and this is adding multiple textures to your kitchen. So I think this is a great way to make your kitchen look more expensive, look more designed, and just it adds a lot more interest. So you can say if you're not a very colorful person, and you wanted, say, like an all black kitchen, still make it very interesting by layering different textures. For example, when somebody has an all black kitchen, they may think that just having it all matte black, black tap, black sink, that's an all black kitchen. But say we introduced some more black, but just a different texture. So this is a veneered black wood, still keeping your kitchen all black, but it's just introducing some more texture. So then it just adds layers. And that is what will make your kitchen look more expensive, look more designed. I just love it. Multiple colors and textures in your kitchen. You do want to make sure that they're the right tone and they work together, but that is something I guess that your kitchen designer could help you with, or just kind of putting the samples together and thinking, do I like this? Number 4. So this one I think is a bit scary for some people because they're not ready to kind of let go of some storage. But number 4 is to remove your wall units. They are kind of the upper units that go eye level. So a lot of people like to put their mugs in this place, and I guess once you're used to something, it's quite hard to let go of it. Removing your wall units just can make your space feel a lot more open. A lot of units can kind of close a space in, and if you remove the wall units, you can replace it with, say, an open shelf. What I really like is extending your worktop up as like a full splashback, but then also bringing it out into a shelf out of the same stone. Or if you don't have enough stone or you're not able to use the stone, just using a similar color shelf to your worktop can give that same effect. It can also be a really nice place to display some art, or I like to kind of put shopping boards, get rid of all of your mismatching mugs, get some nice mugs that all match, and that's a great place to put your cups, because that's the main thing that people say. They say, once you get rid of the wall units, where am I going to put my mugs? Because I like to have my mugs up high. That way when you have guests over and they want to make themselves a cup of tea, because usually a tea might be the only thing that they really make themselves, they don't have to kind of go through all of your cupboards. They just can see the mugs, know where it is, and then place your coffee machine or kettle, whatever it is, right underneath. I like to think removing your wall units or upper units is a great way to make your space feel a lot more open and designed. Finally, number 5, this is the last one for this video. I see a lot more people now moving away from a formal dining table as they've realized that they don't use it very often, and maybe that space could be used for something a little bit more functional. So either like a playroom for your kids, or extending another room, making another room slightly larger. But then you still need to have the option of seating lots of people when you have guests over, but maybe that might only be at Christmas or special family occasions. You don't really want to take up a large footprint of your kitchen, diner or house for something that you might only use 2 or 3 times a year. So the solution is kind of bench seating. I'd say the main advantages of bench seating is that with a bench, you're not restricted by how many people can sit there. So you can squeeze a few more people on if you need to. And when you're not using it, it's very easy to just kind of slide the bench to one wall, and then you can either just use one side of it when you're with your immediate family, and then kind of pull it out and use both sides when you have more guests. Open plan living spaces, and usually close to the garden, you may have some bifolds. If you kind of, I don't want to say shove the table, but say if you kind of scoot the table over to one wall, and then you have your kitchen island on the other side, in the middle, you now have a nice walkway to go from one end of the room to the garden. That is something that's very important, especially if, say, you have kids and they're running around. You don't really want them to be kind of running around a table all the time because it's a bit dangerous. So yeah, so that's number 5, bench seating and kind of getting rid of a formal dining area. That's it for my 2023 kitchen trends. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, I'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to know more about what my page is about, watch this video next, and I'll see you in the next one.